In today's video, we're taking a look at how to hardwire an inverter easy and simple. This is so easy, anyone could do. Everything that we use on the video, we're going to leave a link on the description. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe. That does help us out a lot. Thank you. So you woke up today and wiring things is in your mind. Don't worry, here at the StatUpBox team, we've got your back. A few blocks away, but a back is a back. And for this video, we're going to use the Renogy 24 volt 2000 watt pure sine wave inverter. But no matter if you're using this particular brand, a 12 volt system, a 24 volt, 36 volts, or 48 volt system, the technique will be the same. And because the last thing you want on a clear sunny day is to die, the first thing that we want to do is turn off our system. And a pro tip, when turning off your system, the last one you want to turn off is your charge controller. And if you're turning back on your system, the first one you want to turn on is your charge controller, avoiding future headaches, aka wallet out the window. And hardwiring the inverter's AC output offers a safer and more reliable solution for higher and continuous loads by eliminating stress on the plugs and receptacle, while enabling proper breaker protection, grounding, and power distribution that is not fully achievable throughout built-in outlets. So in this particular unit, if you notice to the left side of the outlets, you're going to see the removable wiring cover. So if you notice on the cover, it also has a strain relief clamp, also called a cable gland. And always remember the ancient technique passed down generation to generation of lefty loosey, righty tighty. Even though that both provide the same output, the built-in outlets depend on plugs and receptacles that can limit the reliability under continuous loads, whereas the terminal block supplies power throughout the direct hardwire connections. Once the cover is removed, we'll see on the inverter the three terminal block, which is labeled the first one to the left L for hot, in the middle N for neutral, and the last one to the right the ground. And this particular one is a push-in terminal block, which works by using the internal spring clamps that securely grip the inserted wire, creating a solid electrical connection without screws. If in your case you have a screw clamp terminal, then that works by tightening the screw onto the inserted wire. It clamps it securely, creating a stable connection. And the next thing that we're going to need is the electrical wire. In this particular case, our barbecue paper, our owner's manual, suggests using 10 gauge copper wire. And according to the interwebs, a 10 gauge copper wire has an ampacity of about 30 amps, which can safely handle the 16.7 amps of continuous load of a 2000 watt 120 volt inverter. And in this particular case, we're using individual wires, which we find easier to pull through our conduit. But if you're using sheeted electrical cable, then the technique will be the same. And always remember, you can verify with your barbecue paper, with your owner's manual, for the correct size of wire for your particular inverter, or you can always verify on the interwebs. Now that we have our wire gauge, cut to size, and strip, in this particular case we're using the Klein automatic stripper, no and not dollar bills. We'll leave links on the description. We want to go ahead and insert the wires through the cover clamp combo, and according to the barbecue paper, the owner's manual, we should strip about 0.25 to 0.3 inches, which is 6 to 8 millimeters of insulation. And what we're basically going to do, we're going to take our green wire or our bare copper wire and insert it on the ground, which is the ground symbol, or in your case you might have a G for ground. We're going to take our white wire and insert it on the neutral, which is the N, or in some cases the common. If in your case it says common, it could be a C. And our last wire is the live wire, which is the black wire. We're going to insert it on the L terminal. If in your case, if it's a screw type, then you want to loosen the screws, insert it in between the clamp, then tighten the screw until you feel it tight. And no matter if you have a push in or a screw in connection, you always want to do a pull test at the end to verify that the wire is securely in there. If you have a push in connection like this one, if you notice right on top of the wire hole, there's a small square where you can insert a small tool like a tiny flat flathead screwdriver, you push in the tool, and with your other hand, you pull out the desired wire you want to remove. Now that our wires are in, we can go ahead and place the cover back. We're going to start by screwing the cover. Remember the ancient technique of lefty-loosey, righty-tighty. Then we're going to end by tightening the clamp to our wires. Once we feel it tight, we want to do the snug and pull test just to verify that everything is correctly assembled. And now that we have one side of the equation done, we're ready to connect the other side of our wire. And that could be to a distribution box or a breaker panel, a sub panel, a transfer switch, extension panel, a outlet box, or even a heavy duty power strip. In this particular case, we're using a power distribution box. We'll leave links on the description. This particular box is a IP54 rated 110 volt AC panel. It provides multiple NEMA 520 outlets, each protected by individual 20 amp breakers, along with an integrated electricity meter and overall safety breaker. The box is pre-wired, which makes it easy to mount and allows safe distribution of AC power with proper grounding and overcurrent protection. A pro tip: when using one of these power distribution boxes, you always want to verify that it is wired correctly, wired appropriately, using correctly sized wire, and individually to each outlet, avoiding future headaches in the future, aka wallet out the window and the smell of smoke on a non-barbecue day. But let's say you want to test the inverter. You can technically hardwire a heavy duty power strip to the inverter. It is risky because there's no breaker protection, so the strip must be rated for full load and properly grounded, making this setup only suitable for temporary and low risk use, aka future pain and glory. Mostly pain, I mean just pain. And in the hypothetical fields of the multiverses, the technique will be the same. We would cut our wire to size, preferably closest to the plug, unless the plug will be used for something else. Then we strip, cut, and remove the outer jacket, revealing the internal 3 wires: the live, the neutral, and the ground, white, black, and green. Then we strip each individual wire, and just like a late night movie, we insert the wires to the corresponding terminal on the inverter. L for line, which is the black wire, N for neutral or common, which is the white wire, and ground symbol for the ground wire, which is the green wire in this case. And now you can say it's alive. But let's say we're wiring the distribution box like we are, then we're going to find in the box a watertight wire connector that we can install at the bottom of the distribution box. We go ahead and disassemble it. We insert the threaded part, then we take the nut from the inside, we thread it in until we feel it tight. But let's say you want to protect your investment, like placing your wires in conduit, either PVC, metal, flexible metal, liquid tight, and others. And what this does is provides a mechanical protection, reduces the risk of cuts or abrasions, shields against moisture or chemicals, and helps organize and secure the wiring for safer installations. In our case, we're going to use liquid tight. We're going to use a PVC cutter to cut it. We're going to cut to size, insert our wire, and in this particular case, we're going to use a angled fitting. But even if you're using this one or the one that came with the distribution box, the technique will be the same. You want to disassemble it, insert the threaded part, then take the nut and tighten. In this particular case, we're going to use a lock nut wrench tool to tighten it. We'll leave links on the description. And now that we have our inverter wired up, we have the protection for our wires, we're ready to find the last resting place for the box. In our particular case, we're installing it on a backer board. If you want to see a video on how to cut backer board, we'll leave links on the description. As you can see, we also moved our inverter from horizontal to vertical, creating more space, and installing the distribution blocks the closest to the inverter is best because it minimizes AC voltage drop, reduces wire length and cost, limits exposure of live wires, length and cost of conduit, and overall making the installation safer and more efficient. So no matter if you use the provided connector or a different one like ours, the technique will be the same. We want to make sure that we have the nut inserted in the wires before inserting the wires to the distribution box. Once we notice it's semi-inserted and we can see it from the other side, we can pull our conduit or liquid tight to the the connector, and once we notice that it's fully seated, we can go ahead and tighten our nut. And we like inserting the wires both in the conduit or distribution box without stripping, because leaving the installation while pulling the wires helps protect the copper from creating any damage and having your loved one, spouse, roommate, or family member on the household giving you that look. Once we have the wires inserted and cut to length, we can go ahead and strip them. And you do that by throwing dollar bills, I mean by professionally using your stripping tools. If you notice, to the left we have the electricity meter, then we have the main breaker, and this is where we're going to install our live wire or our black wire and our neutral wire or common wire or white wire. If you notice, to the right side we have the L for live or black wire. We're going to go ahead and install that first. If you notice your wire does not insert, that means you have to loosen the terminal screw to make space for the wire. You always want to use the ancient technique passed down generation to generation of lefty loosey, righty tighty. And then if you notice, to the left we have the N for neutral or common or white wire. We use the same technique as before, and what you want to make sure is that once you feel it tight, you want to do the pull and snug test just to make sure that it is correctly in there. Now if we take a look at the bottom to the right side, we're going to see a bus bar, which is for the ground. As you can see on the distribution box by the letter G sticker next to it, here is where we place the ground wire, which is the green wire or the bare copper wire. Just like before, we want to insert our wire and then tighten. If you notice it doesn't go through, then you want to loosen the screw, lefty loosey, righty tighty, insert and then tighten. Once tightened, you want to do the snug and pull test to verify that everything's correctly in there. And now that you've become a wizard on inserting and tightening just like last night, we're ready to close the box. And remember, a pro tip when tightening the box screws in place, always remember that it is plastic. Once you feel it tight, that's good enough. You don't want to over tighten and then have aka more looks from the loved one. As you can see at the end of our liquid tight conduit where the wire meets the inverter, we left a little gap so you can see the connection. We are going to place an adapter connector here in the future. And now that our system is wired up, we can go ahead and turn on back our system. Always remember a pro tip when turning back on your system, the first thing that you want to turn on is your charge controller. And when turning off your system, the last thing you want to turn off is your charge controller. As you can see, once our inverter kicks in, our meter turns on. We can go ahead and turn on all our breakers starting from our main breaker and then our 4 individual breakers. If in your particular distribution box you have the included energy meter, you'll notice an orange button which you can cycle through the different readings. And the first one would be voltage, then current in amperage, then power in wattage, and then lastly energy usage on kilowatt hours. Another pro tip, after the installation you want to make sure that every outlet and every breaker works, and that would be a simple test as connecting something like this heat gun, turning it on. As you can see, we get a power watt reading of 1394 watts. We can test the breaker by turning it off meanwhile the appliance is still on and see if it cuts out, and as you can see it goes back to 0. And remember, you want to do this for each outlet and breaker, so you want to repeat this 3 more times. And now you've done it. You become a black belt on inverter hardwiring of your block. You can pat yourself on the back for a job well done. Don't forget, if you liked the video, please give us a thumbs up. That really helps. If you have any questions, place them in the comment section below. Either someone on the StatUpBox team or someone on the YouTube community can help you out with an answer. Don't forget to subscribe, follow us on social media. Thank you for watching, and here's a link to our latest video.